A little bit behind original schedule, but we're good and we're finally getting there. So we have 5 teams competing today. We have Manchester, Salford, specifically University, and Salford University is the Jade Dragons team. We also have 2 teams from Barnsley. We have Barnsley Griffins and Straw Hats, and then we have NUF, so Newcastle United Foundation, and I don't know out of order, which isn't helpful at this point. I'll bring up the score sheet, it's easier. So here we go. Yeah, so NUF, Barnsley Griffins, Barnsley Straw Hats, Salford Jade Dragons, and Sheffield are our 5 competing teams today. We're going to be taking you through those matches between them. They're going to be running in a round-robin pool of matches against each other. Get some more feel for sort of like the ability levels between these, because these teams have never met each other before in tournament. So it'll be interesting to see how they compare. We'll be then moving on from that. The 5th team at the end of that round will be dropped, and we'll move then to a knockout rounds, so semi-finals, 3rd place playoff, and final. And hopefully that will all make sense as we work through. So our opening match today is going to be between NUF and the Salford Jade Dragons. Both teams relatively inexperienced. Newcastle are a HADO location, and it's some of their coaches, but not all of their guys have played a great deal in terms of competitively yet. So it's going to be interesting for them. And for the Salford players, they've got some players that have got a bit of experience on the belt, but they've also got some new team members as well, who are hoping to try and achieve through speed and agility, but they've not got that experience behind them. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play. Coach Ash is just going through some last-minute sort of hints and tips for the newer guys, making sure they're happy in how the system works. So for the people who are not familiar with HADO, HADO is a global augmented reality sport. It's played in about 42 countries now, so it's a full global sport running all the way through to World Cup. And in the UK, we've got a really good tournament scene circuit here. We've been expanding it even further this year, so there's a potential for, I think it's around 40, 41, something like that, sanctioned tournaments running across the UK throughout the course of this year, from both local, regional and national levels. So the today is a regional, and this is the Northern Regional, so that's why we've got Barnsley, Newcastle, Salford and Sheffield all taking part. And hopefully across the course of this year there's going to be 3 more Northern Regionals spread across the course of the year, with more teams taking part, and also with those locations starting to hold local tournaments as well. So these local regional tournaments lead through to nationals, and then the nationals themselves go through to potential selection to play for England in the international matches. So everything sort of interlinks and feeds together. All the teams will earn ranking points off their matches, and those ranking points allow you to compare and contrast yourself with teams across the country. Obviously early on in the season those numbers are a bit skewed, because not every teams have yet played their sort of opening matches yet, or they may have played at different levels, therefore matches being worth different amounts of points. So it'll be interesting to see how we go through the season as those numbers jump around, and we're going to be putting a full sort of update page and information on the main UK HADO website, so you can see the different teams, what they've achieved, where they're ranked, where they're based, and get a feel for how the sport's progressing across the UK. Obviously, if you happen to live near any of the locations, so Brighton, Maidenhead, Coventry, Barnsley, Newcastle, or are a member of the RAF, because the RAF have got their own courts as well. Obviously, you can get you can pretty easily go and get involved with the sport. If you don't happen to live in those areas, find somewhere that you think would be a great location to host HADO, and go pester them to come and talk to us, and we'll get HADO up and running where you are as well. So just flicking across the court so you can see where we are. So it's the Newcastle are on blue and Salford Jade Dragons are on red. Teams are just getting themselves prepped and ready. See Newcastle just going through some final tactics and ideas for for the match ahead. Salford just going through some last minute coaching there with Coach Ash, so they can get a feel for how the game's going to play through, make sure they're happy on everything that they're doing. So hopefully we'll be good and we'll be up and running very soon. Match is going to be all run best of 3, and we're just waiting for. We've got our first sets of teams ready to go. I'll sort of think match 3 and 4 teams will hopefully be with us in time. But as you can see on the sort of screen there at the back edge of the court, there's currently a Rocket League tournament going on next to us, and several team members from Sheffield and Barnsley are currently competing in that Rocket League tournament. So be interesting on the timing. Hopefully it will all flow through nicely. So yeah, just looks like Ash just checking with Newcastle to make sure they're ready, and hopefully we'll be up and running for this first match very soon. And obviously, if you feel like chatting in the chat, that'd be great. So there's more to talk about while we're waiting for the team briefings just to complete. So it's a brand new environment for us, the Metrodome Leisure Centre in Barnsley. We've not operated here before, and this is being run in conjunction with a big sort of community esports tournament and event. It's being run between Barnsley College and British Esports. So there's loads and loads of stuff going on here, different tournaments, different matches being competed in, both by public and by different college and institution esports teams. So it's a really nice environment, lots of different stuff going on, loads of stuff for people to look and do while we're getting prepped and ready. It does also mean there's a big tannoy that's going to announce various things, which is undoubtedly going to cut across the sound for this. So don't worry if that happens as we go through the match. But we are looking fairly good now on court. So it looks like players are pretty much ready. Right, just waiting for Ash to finish his briefing and we will be good to go. So hang in there for a sec, folks, and we'll get the first game up and running. Okay, so looks like we're pretty much ready there with our teams. Okay, so opening game of the HADO Northern Regional Championships. Salford J Dragons on red versus NUF on blue. Here we go. Okay, going for some shielding there from the red team. General firepower tactics there from blue. Nice early firepower going around from Salford. Not a great deal of movement though from Salford, unfortunately. Now that's just cost them. First point on the board there for Newcastle. Second point for Newcastle. Okay, Salford have got those. Starting to get their shields up, but need a lot more manoeuvrability from them. Points on the board now for Salford. Second point of Salford. Newcastle immediately answering back though, taking it back to a 2-point difference with a 4-2 lead. Both teams still relatively sedentary at the moment. You could do with a lot more motion from both of them. Newcastle starting to open that lead up now, 3-point lead. Coming into the final 20 seconds now, so last quarter of the match. Red team really needing to up their firepower and aggression here. 6 points down. Coach Ash shouting advice or something like that from the sidelines. So a convincing win there in round 1 to Newcastle. See if Salford can pull this back in game 2 and take it to a third round decider. But definitely need a lot more movement from the teams there. I think Salford's choice to try and hide behind shields didn't really work from there at all. They were only ranked 3 shields as well, so on those stats that come up at the start of the game, those control your, as you can see here, so like the 3-3-1-3 at the top there, 4-3-2-1 on the Blues. So first stat is how fast the shot is travelling. The second stat is how big the shot is. The third stat is how rapid you get energy. That controls how often you can fire. And the fourth stat is the number of defensive shields you can raise, but also their individual strength. So Shield 1 is 1 very weak shield, Shields 3 mid-strength shields, Shields 5 super-strength shields. Now if you're going to shield, what you want to is have 1 shield with high shields, not 2 players with mid-rank shields. Because basically their shields just aren't as good. They're not at the same sort of level as the high-rank shielders. And it also means that you've split out, so rather than having firepower players and things like this, you've given all up because they've all sacrificed some points into shields, and you've ended up a bit generalised. And you're far better off if you want to go down that defensive route of having a single very strong shielding player instead, and working through on that side rather than having that split across your group, because it just means that you've got no real key strengths. And a bit too generalised. Your shots aren't fast enough. They're not big enough. You're not firing enough of them because you've all sacrificed something into shields. So having that real nice sort of mix across the team is a lot better, and having people specialised into roles and means you end up with a much stronger combination in terms of your team play. So teams getting ready now for round 2. Because as I said, is a best of 3 matchup. So the first game in sequence has gone to Newcastle. See if they can take the second one and win this match, or if Salford Jade Dragons are going to up that movement and firepower, because they needed to definitely increase both there, and see if they can pull this back to the third round decider. So, some of the Newcastle players competed in the BBC Children in Need tournament end of last year. Actually, so did some of the Salford players. But that's their sort of competitive experience to date. We're just waiting for them to finish sorting everyone to get themselves tracked in and ready to go. We're just waiting on the final red player by the looks of it to get themselves ready, and we will get round 2 underway. Right, let's take it back to courtside. Here we go, game 2. Let's see if Salford can pull this back. Okay, so shift up in tactics this time. Still 1 player going for that the extra point in shields, but Salford have gone for a sort of like high fire rate builds here. A lot of what we refer to as technician style roles, so high energy charge rate, put out a lot of shots, but it doesn't mean their shots tend to be small, so you've got to be much more accurate. Possibly not their best choice at this stage. I think going for larger shots, so they didn't have to be quite as precise, would have been a better plan for them. Good shield walling going up from Newcastle, slowed down the Salford counter-attack. Newcastle now with a strong lead here, 5-point lead. Salford got a lot to do. 30 seconds remaining on the clock though. Problem with those, as you can see, with those smaller shots there, they have to take out the life marks in front of the players, 1 section at a time. With the scale 1, scale 2 and above, if you hit dead centre, you can wipe the whole target with 1 shot. So scale 1 shots are a big risk because they totally removed that option for the 1-shot takedowns, and that's really hurting Salford here. The front player on the front corner, they're just not moving enough. And just being attacked relentlessly by the NUF players. And that's a convincing win in round 2 there for NUF, 17 points to 4. So NUF taking game 1 here at the Northern Regional Championship. Yep. So we've got some more coaching inquiry going in from the teams there on that follow-up. So look there, but down to 3% accuracy there from red player 3. Plenty of shots going out from Salford. They just not managing to get them on target. But good accuracy across the board there from the Newcastle players. Obviously, they're looking like a very strong team here after that round 1 performance. Be interested to see how they match up against the more experienced Barnsley teams. Who are probably the Barnsley team is probably the most experienced of the teams in this setup. And I'd say probably Sheffield, from what we're aware, being the least experienced of the teams competing today. So plenty of opportunity for Salford to pull this back and get some wins under their belt as we go forward. So we're going to look at straw. So we're going to work that through. So I believe Barnsley Straw Hats are coming up next, and we're just trying to sort out their relevant opponents, and they'll be up and good. Right, guys, so that was a pretty definitive win there in our opening match there for Newcastle, and we're just looking at getting our next 2 teams up on the court. So we have Straw Hats playing on red. The Straw Hats are one of the 2 Barnsley teams competing today. So just getting themselves, they're going to start getting themselves prepped and ready. We're just checking for their opponents. So unfortunately, the crossover with the Rocket League tournament is causing us a bit of delay on getting some of the players here on time. And that's the wonders of doing live events. So we've got a still a little bit of delay as both Sheffield and Barnsley have, Barnsley Griffins have players in the Rocket League Championship, which you can see on that. Well, you can't see because I've turned it around. But as you can see there, that screen in the middle of the background, that's the Rocket League that's currently still playing. So we're waiting on those teams to come and join us. What that means is we're going to just bounce the other matches a little bit out of sequence, and we're going to bring Newcastle back onto the court to play their match against Straw Hats. Obviously, these are all matches that need to happen anyway, but it just allows us to bounce a bit round. And if needs be, we can then always bring Sheffield Jade Dragons back into play against Straw Hats as well. And then we'll just the other teams being late, we'll just have to play some back-to-backs. But that's what they get for turning up late. That seems fair. So obviously we saw Newcastle playing very strongly in that first matchup there. Barnsley teams though have got obviously significantly more experience than the opponents they just faced off against from Salford. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays through, and whether Newcastle are able to step up against a stronger team. Of the teams competing, we would expect the Barnsley Griffins, who we yet to see on court, to be the strongest team on sort of relevant amount of experience and everything else that we've seen to date. Straw Hats, who are coming now onto the red side of the pitch, would expect them probably to be the second strongest, but maybe balancing out with Newcastle. And we'd expect Salford and Sheffield to be fairly comparable as well. As the two sort of weaker teams within that sequence. That's expectation at this point. Obviously, you never know where that's going to match up on the day. But we've got the teams there getting themselves prepped and ready to go. Coach Ash just getting them all sorted out. Right. Take a look at them. It's more interesting than looking at me. Here we go. So just getting tracking and everything set for the players. So that looks like all of the Barnsley players from Team Straw Hat are ready on the red side. Newcastle United ready on blue. Here we go then. So match 2. Again, best of 3. Let's see how Newcastle do against what should be a stronger opposing team. Let's see how they go. First points on the board there for Newcastle. Some heavy shielding going in from Barnsley, trying to give themselves that bit of cover, but not actually earning a point yet. There we go. First point in for Barnsley, taking centre player. Newcastle immediately responding though, 2 points to 1. 30 seconds played, 50 on the clock. Good shielding there from Newcastle. Another point on the board for them as well. Really nicely worked play there from Newcastle. Good takedown of that centre Barnsley shield as well. Barnsley players getting picked off here. Starting to get some communication going between the Barnsley team. They really need to start communicating more here. Beautiful one-shot takedown on the front player there on the Barnsley team. Great work from Newcastle here. Really dominating in this first game. 10 seconds remaining. A 6-point lead to Newcastle. 7-point lead. It's looking really good for Newcastle here. So 7-15 there. So 8-point lead for the Newcastle team. They're really putting in a great performance here. Looking really nice and strong in their gameplay. Let's see if Straw Hats can get it together, get their heads in the game, and turn this round for game 2. So see that Newcastle just dominating the MVP categories there. Again, 33 to 46% accuracy from Newcastle. Good shot numbers again for the charge rates. They're playing really well here. Definitely doing themselves proud. So 15-17 win for Newcastle versus the Barnsley Straw Hats there in game 1 of this match. So teams just getting themselves prepped and ready. Bit of advice there from Coach Ash to the Straw Hats there as they get themselves ready for round 2. Okay, so hopefully we'll get these guys up and running again for round 2. Let's see if Straw Hats can put up a serious fight in the second round. Hopefully that was a bit of a wake-up call for them, that these Newcastle players are clearly know what they're doing. You said Newcastle is a HADO centre, same as Barnsley, so both the teams have their own courts, and Newcastle have most clearly been using theirs to practice and train, which is, after all, what we want. Hopefully in the near future as well, there'll be local tournaments as well as this regional. There'll be local tournaments running in Newcastle as well as some local events here in Barnsley to give teams in the area a chance to be involved. If you're based around either of those locations, either around the Newcastle, which is sort of just up the hill from St James's Park in central Newcastle, or if you are anywhere near Barnsley College, I want to get in touch there. Both those locations obviously have got courts. They're looking for more and more competing teams. If you want to get involved, make sure you drop the messages and get yourselves on the HADO pitch and learning how to play the sport. So we are waiting for, looks like one blue player just to get himself sorted out. There we go, it's tracked in now. We are good to go. Here we go. Get ready for round 2. Can Newcastle take this and take the match, or are Barnsley going to manage to fight the way back in and take this to a third round decider? Nice early play going on there. 1 point apiece. Much earlier on the scoreboard there for Barnsley. Let's see if they can keep this going. Good work from Newcastle though. Quick double kill there, taking to a 2-point lead at the stage. Still maintaining that 2-point lead, 3-point lead now. Newcastle really in control of this game at the moment. Barnsley got to fight back and up their work here. Nice dodging invasion going on the back line there from Newcastle, but finally, a lot of hard work going to that centre Newcastle player from Barnsley finally paid off. 6 points apiece now. Barnsley pulling this back. Need to get rid of that central rear shield. Good, that's gone. 20 seconds remaining now. 2 points back to Newcastle. So that was great work from Barnsley, pulling it back square. Shows they can do it. Can they do it again, though? Can they pull this scoreline back? 7-9, 10 seconds. Really, really got to focus this down. It is achievable for Barnsley, but they've got to work. 7-10. This looks like it may be too much now. And that is game over. 10 points to 7 to Newcastle. Game 2, match 2. That's 2 matches in the bag for Newcastle United. Barnsley Straw Hats defeated in their first round. Great work again there. Taking MVP. They're pretty much all blue player 6. In fact, across the board in terms of those KOs, that accuracy, definitely the player to watch. Generally, tactically, what you want to do is identify the greatest threat on the opposing team and target them first, because if they're taken out of play, obviously their team aren't earning points. So that's your ideal. So blue player 6 there on the Newcastle squad, definitely the player to target and try to keep locked out of play as best you can. So we're just going to check with our setups, see if we've got our remaining 2 teams here yet, or whether we're going to be cycling back in with Jade Dragons versus Straw Hats. Hold on there for a sec, folks. Right, guys, so as you can see on screen there, teams getting themselves prepped and ready. So this is Barnsley Griffins on blue, who expect to probably be the strongest of our teams here today, versus Barnsley Straw Hats on red, who obviously we've just seen play against Newcastle. So their first game against Newcastle, not great. The second game against Newcastle, much stronger. So hopefully we're going to see that, now they're warmed up a bit. Hopefully we'll get them stronger in this game and stronger in the game after that, and see where they go from there. Like I said, Barnsley Griffins team have been competing in tournaments in the UK for over a year now, so it's going to be interesting. So they are as we'd expect them to be our strongest team of this regional tournament. Let's see if they can live up to their hype. Here we go. Good opening play there. Really strong opening sequence here from Barnsley Griffins. 6-0 against 8-0 now against Barnsley Straw Hats. This is brutal at the moment. Straw Hats really need to get themselves into this match. They've got to get some aggression on the first point on the board there for Straw Hats as we come up on the halfway mark. Really, really strong performance here from Barnsley Griffins. Put it in perspective, Barnsley Griffins were playing in the UK League 2 Premiership last season, so they've played against a lot of very tough teams. They're a very experienced group in comparison to, specifically in comparison to the other teams in today's tournament. Which means putting 5 points on the board against them is actually pretty good. So respect there to Straw Hat in round one, but a dominating performance there from Barnsley Griffins. Really, really nice play.
How are they on 160%?
Okay, so let's get ready for game two. So, as I said, given the experience gap between Griffins and Straw Hat, that was not a bad performance by Straw Hat. But if Straw Hat really want to keep themselves going in this tournament, they are going to need to hugely up their game there. So, as bits coming through in the comments there, we did have a player in one of the previous matches who did not spend their stat points, but that's player error. So if something happens that is related to hardware or software, so something relating to the environment the players are in that goes wrong, then that would cause the match to be replayed. If player error is the issue, you drop your equipment, you haven't attached it properly, you put something on and upside down, you haven't spent your points. That's on you. Tough. You've chosen to handicap your team, and unfortunately that's just the way it goes. Them's the rules. Right, here we go. Round two. Let's see if Straw Hat can up the aggression here and put something back in play against the Griffins. Nice play from both sides here in round two. Good work there from Straw Hats. Single point, holding Griffins to only a single point lead at this stage. 30 seconds played, 50 to go. Good removal of that front line shield as well by Straw Hats. Griffins though have capitalised on it, opened out to a 3-point lead now at the halfway mark. Straw Hats really need to focus their fires together, a lot more communication. Got shields up there, now let's see if they can do anything with them. Good work there for Straw Hats, pulled it to a 6-point door. Now, can they keep that going? Can they stop the Griffins team moving away from them? 20 seconds remaining now. Three-point lead for Griffins, 4-point lead. Looks like they're starting to accelerate away now, 5-point lead. Really good movement invasion on the front line from Griffins there, pulling in a lot of firepower into their centre player, and he's just dodging the whole lot there, causing Straw Hats to waste a lot of shots. Now, sometimes it's quite a standard tactic. You see that with a lot of teams. They'll put a player right up on the front line whose job is to dodge like crazy, grab all of your attention, and get you to waste your shots, taking the pressure off their teammates, allowing them to be a lot more static, which improves your aim and keeps those shots going into target nice and cleanly all the way through. So again, not huge accuracy scores there in comparison to some of the games we've had so far this sequence. All around mid-20s from both teams there, but just a lot more firepower going out from the Griffins. Okay, so teams just getting themselves prepped up now. So we have Griffins staying on court. They're going to be facing off now against the Salford Jade Dragons, who've been watching and taking a lot of notes in the matches that have happened so far. So hopefully they'll have picked up some from that. We've had, I know they're having a lot of discussions about needing to significantly increase their movement, especially ducking, moving up and down. And yeah, as you got in the comments there, you are quite correct. They do need to increase that that scale. Basically, if your accuracy is not great, upping scale can help counter that to quite a significant extent. It makes it much harder to dodge because there's a much bigger shot range on there. Be interesting to see what Jade Dragons go for now. See, they've had. We've got that first experience on courts where things did not go well for them. They've watched a number of matches now, so they've got picking up a lot of pointers on movement, stat choices, tactics, and Coach Ash is currently giving them some last-minute pointers as well. Barnsley Griffins team looking quite calm and collected on court at the moment. Flick you back across, so they're much more interesting to look at than I am. And hopefully we will be up and running very soon. So on current performance, we would expect this most probably to go in the favour of Barnsley Griffins, but we'll see. The Salford Jade Dragons are competitive. They were not happy with their first match performances, so see what they've learned. What they've taken to heart from that experience and from watching the matches since then.
Let's see, bang! That's so weird.
So pull up our match results to date.
Two people are playing RNG characters.
So obviously at the moment, pretty much everything going in favour of Barnsley Griffins and Newcastle. So obviously that's going to be a very, very interesting head-to-head when we get to that point, because they currently are looking like our two strongest teams in this setup.
Fireball!
Here we go. Game one. So this is Salford Red Dragons on red versus the Griffins on blue. So a lot of slow shots from Salford players. Big scale, slow shots. So you sort of flood the area around the Barnsley players with those bigger shots. Don't give them time to evade or get out of the way. 3-point lead for Barnsley at this stage though. Salford players just need to build up that sort of weight of shots in the environment, take away the dodging options from the Barnsley players and start racking up some points. 6-point lead for Barnsley here though. Jade Dragons with a lot of work to do at this stage. Great evasion work on the front line there. Again, shields going up again from Jade Dragons, but smashed straight down from Barnsley. Really, really good focus fire from the Barnsley team. They're taking those defences away. 10-point lead now, 11-point lead for Barnsley. Jade Dragons with an absolute mountain to climb here to try and close this. Looking at the stats again, there's too much generalisation. 2 shields per player. Level 2 shields are just not strong enough to really make any meaningful difference. The opposing team can punch through them too quickly and you're down a stat point straight away. And those speed 1 options have meant that the shots are coming so slowly in that unfortunately the Barnsley players can literally just walk around them. So not really a great set of builds there from the Jade Dragon players there. Need to get a bit more speed in there. If they're going to go firepower, just forget the shields. Don't go for that 2 shield build. Basically, a rank 1 shield stops 2 shots. A rank 2 stops like 3 to 4 shots. There is a bit of variance in because they degrade over time, so it depends when the shots land for how many they stop. But yeah, I mean, all Jade Dragons manage to land hits and points, but really not. I think they hamper themselves quite badly there with their choices. And blue player 4 there from Barnsley Griffins, absolutely killing it. And yeah, down again in the comments there. Yeah, you're correct. I mean, they're a little bit out of practice. It's the start of the season. Unfortunately, due to timing clashes, there was end of the season last year. There was a number of matches they weren't able to take part in, so they are a little bit rusty, but still performing well in the matches today. So we're going to get that up and running now for round 2. Hopefully again, Jade Dragons, obviously they were trying some really different tactics there to what we saw in their first matches, because they've been looking and trying to play different ideas. Hopefully though, we're going to see another step up in that for this second round. So we expect to hopefully see that. So if you're going to take shields, take shields. Don't go half-hearted. Same way, if you're going to try and flood the area with shots, make sure there's a little bit of speed behind some of them at least. You can't just go for that 1-5 build and then be firing intermittently or really trying to aim the area. Then you need to work a lot more as a team to create crossfires to trap the enemy players. So you see in the basically the Griffins team are very mobile, very good on their feet. You need that speed, so you need that mix of both speed and scale to get those shots in. Fewer of them, but on target and more likely to hit. Flip back across the court. Some pre-match sort of shots being fired out, and it's giving the impression that Jade Dragons there are going for scale 1, which is not great against a mobile team like this. Scale 1 means you have to take each of the 4 sections of the life target out individually. You can't get a one-shot takedown. So scale 1 is a risky choice against a team that can dodge well, because fundamentally you've got to hit them 4 times instead of once. So yeah, it'd be interesting to go there, but good to see that they're chopping and changing on their tactics, shifting stuff around, trying to see what's going to give them the edge against these opponents. Okay, looks like we've got all 6 of our players in and ready to go. Here we go, round 2. So, yep, drop shields, plenty of speed now from Salford. So they've pretty much gone to the polar opposite of what they were last game. So now it's small, fast shots rather than large, slow shots. First points on the board there for Barnsley, 2 points to nothing at this stage. So this risk factor with this scale 1 shot though, you've got to take each life target out individually. That means you've got to hit the same player 4 times. Scale 2, unless you are bang on with your accuracy, you don't really want to go to less than scale 2 because otherwise you lose that 1-shot kill potential by hitting the centre target. There's plenty of hits locking in. They're finally on the board now for Jade Dragons, 1 point to 8, halfway mark. Firepower coming in from Barnsley, just too much for Jade Dragons at this stage. And you can see the scale 1 shots, they're clipping away those Barnsley life markers. You can see that the marker's being tagged down, but because you've got to hit each player 4 times to earn a single point, really is playing on hard mode. Choosing to do that with your shot scale. Final few seconds here, and again controlling win for Barnsley there. So, clear to see what Jade Dragons attempt to do with the tactics there. Much higher speed, high firepower, but that scale 1 shot, unfortunately, as you said, you've got to get 4 hits on a player to earn a single point off them. You've denied yourself the capacity for that 1-shot takedown. and that makes your own life really, really hard. So not an ideal tactic there by any means. Right, let's see where we go next on our matches. Okay guys, so we are prepping up now for our next matchup, and this is going to be Jade Dragons staying on the red side, and we have Barnsley Straw Hats coming in on blue, which I think is then going to lead us into what should be our this stage sort of pool stage showdown of Newcastle versus Griffins, as they very clearly our two strongest teams, and that'll be following on after this matchup. Once we've got the pool stage completed, we're then going to look at going to knockouts, and it'll be Team 1 versus Team 3 and Team 2 versus Team 4 as a semi-final, then go through to third place playoff and finals. So again, I think Jade Dragon's got, we've given some more advice there about the risks of going for rank 1 stats. So obviously scale 1 on the side, hugely risky because you cannot get those one-shot takedowns. You have to hit each player 4 times, and that's tough to earn each point. Speed 1, again, really risky unless you've got your team communication going really well, so you can create nice crossfires and really lock a zone of the pitch down and make it deadly by just filling it with shots. And again, charge rate 1, dangerous because you've got to jump around for a good couple of seconds just get enough charge for a single shot. So your firepower's so low and you can't afford to miss shots at that point. So shields 1, if you're going firepower, that you can risk, but speed, scale, or charge rate 1. Unless that's part of a very, very planned, precise build as part of an overall team tactic for a higher end team, it's risky. So at this stage, staying away from 1s in any of those first 3 stats, so for speed, scale, or charge, is something that Jade Dragons really need to do. So we want more movement from them, and also get a bit more on their stats, and just prefer to really try and get plays their strengths. So looking at what's popping out there in the pre-game there, larger, faster shots coming from Jade Dragons, which is looking good. Some small, slow shots coming out from Straw Hats. So logically, there we've got a heavy shield player.
Wait, I got killed. Why don't I kill?
Coach Ash there just starting getting ready. So yeah, I'll bounce across so you can see what I'm talking about as well. Okay, team's just in final prep here. Bit of advice coming in from the sidelines for the Straw Hats players. And I think we are pretty much good to go. Coach Ash just getting the players their final check. So here we go. So it's Salford Jade Dragons on red versus the Barnsley Straw Hats on blue. Yep, heavy shielding from Straw Hats. Nice mix of aggressive stat builds there from Jade Dragons. Early shields there from Jade Dragons, just getting them up, trying to get some points on the board, which they have done. So first points on the board there for Jade Dragons. The first match they've had where they've had an early lead. Straw Hats though fighting straight back though. 20 seconds played and Straw Hats have pulled it round to a single point lead. 2 point all now. Good work from Jade Dragons. A lot more motion now than we've seen in the previous games from them. 3 points on the board there for Jade. Straw Hats heavy, strong centre shields are up, but unfortunately it's currently only their shielder that's using the shields. Now shields are amazing, but they're useless to the shielder. So if you're taking heavy shields, by default you haven't got any firepower. Where you put your heavy shields, you want to put them up towards the centre line, and you want to let your heavy firepower players move in behind those defended positions and really maximise the opportunity you're giving them. Great work so far from Jade Dragons though. 3 point lead over the Barnsley Straw Hats. Straw Hats though still putting up a good fight here. 3 seconds remaining on the clock though. So it looks like we're going to get Jade Dragons' first game win. As game 1 to the Salford Jade Dragons. 10 points to 7 win against Barnsley Straw Hats. And get teams prepped and ready for round 2. So much better performance there. To be fair, it was a good performance from Straw Hats as well. The shield tactic was solid in terms of going for it, but unfortunately that shield placement wasn't great, and there was a real lack of communication there between the Barnsley players to actually use that shield for their defence. So it'll be interesting to see whether they look to try and repeat that in round 2 or whether they're going to shift the tactics up. Also looks like we've got a substitution happening on Straw Hats. So a new player entering the pitch for them. Yep, agreeing and Dan, but obviously we saw a nice mix of aggressive builds there. 4-2-3-1s, 4-3-2-1 coming out of from Salford Jade Dragons. That clearly played a lot better for them. Let's see whether Straw Hats try and make that shield tactic work again, or whether they're going to rethink where they're going with this. Okay, so I've got teams just getting themselves prepped, ready, inputting the stats. Let's see if Jade Dragons can do it again and get their first match win on the board, or the Straw Hats are going to be able to fight back here and push this to a 3rd round decider. Okay, it looks like we're waiting on the final Straw Hats player just to get themselves logged and ready. And then we'll be good for round 2. So coming up after this, we've got what should be our toughest match of the pool stages. So Barnsley Griffins versus Newcastle United. Yep, I agree. Comment there, Dan. I think Straw Hats have got the potential. Just that shield tactic was a mistake. They need to either actually capitalise on those shields or go firepower. Let's see how we go. Game 2. Firepower builds across the board again from Jade Dragon, and looks like it is as well from Straw Hats. Good communication going in from Straw Hats there. 2 points apiece here. 3-2 now. Straw Hats, good, clear, loud communication going across the pitch. Jade Dragon's quiet at the moment. It looks like they're starting to bunch together. But Both teams neck and neck at this stage. Really, really even matchup. 4 points apiece. 4-5. Straw Hats just edging it at the going from the halfway mark. Nice shots going in from Salford's clipping down those blue life markers. But Straw Hats holding on to that lead, keeping that 2-point advantage now. 1 point again. Can Salford pull this back to even? Coming up on the 22nd mark. Still a single point lead for Straw Hats. They pulled it back. 8 points apiece. 10 seconds. 2 point lead now for Barnsley. 3, 2, 1. We're going to a third round decider. 10 points to 9. Nice gameplay there. Good firepower, good movement, both sides there. Real step up from what we've seen in some of the previous games from both of these teams. Really, really nice to see. Blue player 6 there. Clearly the single biggest threat on the pitch by quite some way there. I think that substitution that Straw Hats made has definitely paid off for them there. And yeah, very, very good play there from Blue player 6, helping to pull that match around. But definitely both these teams at this stage, movement, firepower, definitely where it's at for these guys. Much better performances all round, just in their position, accuracy, shots fired, the overall match outcomes. So this is our first third round decider game of this tournament. Everything to play for both teams. Both teams looking to get their first match wins. So both teams after those first match points. So Coach Ash just in final bits of advice, getting teams turned around. So we'll get those teams up and running again in just a few moments. But nice play, really, really good solid gameplay there from both sides. I'd expect we're probably going to see firepower builds again from both teams. But you never know, they might try and mix it up a bit, try and surprise each other. I'm not sure that's the right idea though, because clearly those sorts of firepower builds, fast, decent scale shots. That's definitely where both of them are playing to their best. I think if either team try and pull a surprise move by shifting out away from that stat move, that's most probably going to cost them the game. And I think sticking with those is the best bet for both sides at this stage. So teams getting themselves prepped up and ready. I think we're just waiting on one player from the Salford Jade Dragons to get themselves logged, and we'll be good to go. Okay. So, yep. So everyone is logged and ready. Just a technical question being asked of Coach Ash on the sidelines there. So just let the player get their answers, and we will get this game up and running. Yep. Yeah, I agree, Dan. It might do on those stat points, but I think they're going to perform better if they stick with the firepower. Let's see where they've gone. Yep, firepower across the board, both teams. Higher charge rate on blues than we saw last time. Slightly smaller, slower shots. So more firepower from blue, larger and potentially more accurate firepower coming from red. Let's see how these two tactic sets set up. Currently, so far, working for the Barnsley Straw Hats. 4-0 here. Great dominating opening movement from them. It's that high charge rate, just letting them get out those earlier shots and start to get a real bit of momentum going. Can Jade Dragons pull this back? 4 points down as they come up towards the halfway mark. It's perfectly doable, but they're going to have to dig deep and not get put on their back heels from that opening bombardment from Barnsley. Great communication going from Barnsley though. really directing the firepower, getting all three of them to concentrate fire into single points of the pitch to earn points and then move on to the next opposing player. Again, no real communication going on between the Jade Dragons here, and at this point this is probably their biggest weakness. They're playing as 3 individuals rather than a squad at this stage. Accuracy and movement's a lot better now than it has been in previous games, but they just haven't got that communication going. 6-13, it's looking like a Straw Hats game. Straw Hats take the decider, they're 14 points to 7. Really, really good Just Hats here. Blue player 6, absolutely dominating there. 11 points scored. So blue 6, absolutely the key threat there on the Straw Hats team. And they definitely a player to watch in their future matchups there. So, yep, no. That was nice all-round play there. Really, really good adaptation from Straw Hats. And so that blue player 6, absolutely dominant. Really, really sort of tearing Jade Dragons apart. Red player 1 though, putting up a really good fight for their team there. Some good stats coming from them as well. So we're moving into the last match now, the pool stages. This is going to be Barnsley Griffins on blue versus NUF on red. So these are 2 strongest teams, both currently undefeated in the pool stages. So this is for the first place pool stage position on this matchup. And then we'll be moving on to our semi-finals. So first and third pool stage teams will be playing against each other, and second and fourth pool stage teams will play each other in the semi-finals. Obviously losing teams will then go to the third place playoff, and winning teams will go to the final. All right, let's get ourselves back courtside then. Cool. No, back to me, back to courtside. But yeah, so we're going to be looking at getting these last matches up and running. We said both teams at this stage undefeated, so it's going to be very interesting to see where they go from here. Both teams have looked pretty strong in their matches so far. Now, both sides here include coaches from their relevant HADO locations. So we have coaches from the Barnsley Esports Centre and coaches from the Newcastle Sports Centre. So hopefully we're going to see some good things here. Let's see if they can practice what they preach to the teams that are training with them and put it into practice in this competitive environment. As we said, they've both been our far and away our 2 strongest teams so far in the pool stages. So this is going to be interesting, and my expectation would be probably going to see these 2 teams in the final. So this will be a prelude and a kind of a dry run for that, for them to sort of size each other up in this final pool stage setup. So we have got our Barnsley team are all registered, ready to go. We're just waiting on the last Newcastle players now, just to get themselves in. It looks like we're good with Newcastle as well. Okay, so game is underway. First points on the board to Newcastle. Barnsley Barnsley now answering back, 2 points in. Newcastle looking really dangerous in those opening seconds now. Barnsley's now starting to push on the pressure, opening a 3-point lead. 5-point lead now. Barnsley starting to really up the pressure here on Newcastle. Newcastle starting that fight back now. Good communication from Barnsley. Again, limited communication from Newcastle at this stage. What we're generally seeing is that the teams that with the less communication are coming out worse in every setup. This is, after all, a team sport. That shouldn't be surprising. If you're not talking and cooperating with your teammates, you're always going to be at a disadvantage. Good fight back starting from Newcastle now, though. I think it's too little too late at this stage. But they are definitely a threat. Let's see if they can turn this round in game 2. So really strong performances both from players 5 and 6. Player 5 particularly different with that 7-1 ratio there. Good work across the board from the Newcastle players, but blue player 5, huge threat, and definitely the player they want to be trying to focus on and concentrate. That 7-1 ratio really damaging there for Newcastle. Blue player 4 really need to up their accuracy there as well. Very low. But definitely that early momentum that Newcastle got, if they just managed to capitalise on that whole match could have flipped the other way. It was a fantastic fight back from Barnsley, flipping and then maintaining control of the scoreline. After that, not getting knocked back on their heels, which a lot of teams could have done there. Which is a really good aggressive opening there from Newcastle. Let's see what they're going to do for round 2. So teams now just on a bit of a tactical chat as they get ready now for round 2. Agree on chat. Really good dodging. Some great work there from Newcastle on the evasion. But just that again, that concentrated firepower, that team communication that we were seeing there from Barnsley Griffins, just allowing them to focus fire onto their opponents and just overwhelm the Newcastle's dodging ability to land those hits. Here we go. So teams get themselves prepped up for round 2. Let's see if Newcastle are able to step up to the challenge here. Said that opening aggression from them last in game 1 was really good. But Barnsley's response, unfortunately for Newcastle, was better. A little bit of advice there from Coach Ash, just sorting out some of the tech there for Newcastle. Looks like we're firepower builds across the board again here. Just looking at what they're doing in practice mode. 2 and 1. Here we go. Game 2. Yep, firepower across the board again. Bit more charge rate on blue. Bit of a more predominance of speed and scale from red. Nice speed spin there from blue 5, dodging the shots. 1 point apiece. 2 points apiece. Newcastle not letting Griffin start to move ahead of them in quite the same way, which is good. Let's see if they can keep that going. Barnsley got a 2-point lead now. Newcastle need to close this down as fast as they can. Saw what happened last game. If they let Barnsley start to get a bit of momentum going and they'll start to open that scoreline, and how dangerous that is. They've got to keep them within touching distance all the way. Basically, what you can't allow is your opponent to get a 4-point lead. That's the real risk factor. A 4-point lead requires you to take out the entire opposing team and 1 more player. So that's your kind of critical point. As long as you stay within that, there's always enough points on the pitch to close that gap. Barnsley, unfortunately, now from Newcastle's perspective, getting that 4-point lead. Barnsley playing really well here. Good evasion, good communication. 10 seconds on the clock. 5-point lead for Barnsley. Newcastle still fighting back hard, but I think unfortunately that gap is now too big at this stage. That is game 2 and match to Barnsley. So 13 points to 8. So we're going to be moving on to our knockout stages pretty much straight away. So we are going to be playing Team 1 So position 1, Barnsley Griffins are going to face off against Barnsley Straw Hats, and Jade Dragons in position 4 are going to face off against NUF in position 2. For semi-finals, losing teams will go to third place playoff, and winning teams to the final. So Barnsley Griffins versus Barnsley Straw Hats, followed by Newcastle United against the Salford Jade Dragons, and that will be our two. Right, so a little quick discussion off microphone there, just to make sure we got everything right. So our first semi-final will be Barnsley Griffins against Barnsley Straw Hat, and then our second semi-final will be Newcastle United against the Salford Jade Dragons. Losing teams will then move on to a third place playoff, and the winning teams on to the final. Yep, so as soon as we get the teams ready and on pitch. Right then, so we'll wait for the Tannoys to finish off so we can carry on commentary on competing against that, and we'll be looking to get our first teams back on pitch. It should be Barnsley Griffins versus the Barnsley Straw Hats, so team 1 versus team 3 for the first semi-final, and then instead it'll be Newcastle United versus Salford Jade Dragons, so teams 2 and 4 for the second semi-final, losing teams to third place playoff and winning teams to the final. Well, teams get themselves prepped and ready there. We've got so this is now our second sort of ranked tournament of this season. We're going to be there are tournaments which are going to be announced very soon for ranked tournaments in Midlands and ranked tournaments in the South. I believe we've got either a local being hosted down in Brighton in the very near future, and hopefully also a southern regional, which is waiting on finalisation of those, and that's going to move us all through. Those all need to happen before we reach the next national tournament. The next national tournament is going to be taking place on the 21st of April, which is a change to previous schedule by a week, as we need to avoid Easter break and Easter holidays for some of the teams that are going to be competing, and unfortunately different areas of the country have got different holiday breaks, and we hadn't realised that, so the original date unfortunately clashed with a number of teams being on holiday, and that seemed terribly unfair, so we've agreed to shift that one by a week, and that will be round 2. But after round 2, we'll then move on to round 3, and round 3 nationals will then be in July, which gives a nice break there between April and July for again another full round of local and regional tournaments. So plenty of opportunity for local teams to get involved, get themselves ranking, get themselves up on those national score lines. So if you're watching HADO for the first time, or you've not really gone to that competitive side of it yet and want to do so, obviously go and talk to your HADO location, whether that be Brighton, Maidenhead, Coventry, Barnsley, Newcastle, or if you're in the RAF Esports division, and they will get you on the pitch and playing, and get your teams up into the rankings, get you into your first local matches, through to your regionals, and if you can get your ranking score high enough, through into the nationals as well. So obviously, as we work through, like any season, the end of the season is the big one for everybody, and the end of the UK season is going to be in November. And that's the UK Championships, and that will be open at that point to the top 16 teams in the UK. So plenty of time to earn points between now and then, obviously, to get yourself up those rankings. And all you got to do is get into the top 16 in order to get that place in the UK Championships at the end of the year. Hopefully, we're going to see some amazing gameplay there as we work through. Now we have looks like our first semi-final teams now entering the pitch. So this is Barnsley versus Barnsley. So the Barnsley Griffins versus Barnsley Straw Hat. Obviously from their pool round matchup, we would expect this to probably go to Griffins. But Straw Hat have definitely been improving. As you've seen through these games, they've definitely got a good tactical head on them. And their communication as a team is really good. Odds are definitely in the favour of Griffins, but I think Straw Hat are capable of an upset if they can, if they've got their heads on straight and getting that communication going well. Let's wait and see what they're able to pull off. Right, so just reactivating everything courtside. We'll head back across. So we have Barnsley Straw Hats on blue and Barnsley Griffins on red. Okay, the team's just getting themselves logged in and ready. So it'd be interesting to see if they're maintaining firepower, or whether we're starting to get any sort of defensive or shield play tactics starting to come through. But to date, both teams have put in their best performances whilst going for firepower builds. Okay, here we go then. Players are ready. First semi-final. Barnsley Griffins on red, Barnsley Straw Hat on blue. Yep, firepower builds across the board, both sides. Nice aggressive play from both sides. First points on the board there for Griffins. 2-0, 3-0. Straw Hats really need to get themselves a point here. They've gone quiet as a team. They were so communicative in their previous matches, and they've stopped talking to each other. And you can see that straight away with how the scoreline's gone for them. Got to get that communication back on Straw Hats. That was so key to their performance in the earlier games. 6 points down, 5 points down. Good. Starting to get a little bit of communication coming from the Straw Hats. But we need more at this stage if we're going to pull this back. Good takedown on the front side here by Straw Hats, but Griffins with a commanding lead. 7 points difference here. Massive clip. Hill for Straw Hats to climb there. 20 seconds now remaining. Griffins playing really well. Great evasion on the centre. Griffins good left and right, keeping themselves mobile, keeping that nice firepower going in. Unfortunately, Straw Hat's centre player there, he was doing his job of drawing fire, but unfortunately he wasn't evading it. And that ended up giving a lot of points, sacrificing a lot of points, easy points across to Griffins. If you're going to play that centre pitch position and draw that fire, you have got to be evading like crazy. Your job is to draw attention but not give away points. And unfortunately that wasn't happening in that first game. Let's see if they realise that and can shift that around for game two. Either change out the tactics or put a much more mobile player into that distraction role. agree. Griffins, I mean, they were playing well, but the Straw Hat player stepping into that centre point and just staying upright and moving slowly, he just got farmed for points. I believe he was hit 9 times. Yeah. Scored twice, hit 9. That was just, unfortunately, poor pitch positioning. He needs to be massively more mobile or just put himself back away from that centre line point. Not taking anything away from Griffins there. They played really well. It was good evasion, nice and accurate on the shots. And it was a distinct drop off in communication as well that we saw there with Straw Hats, just not quite talking to each other. It's like a technical glitch on the side there, just fixed it, we're all good. And we are getting prepped and ready again for round 2. Let's see if Straw Hats can pull us out the bag. But yeah, huge drop off in their communication, and you could see that in how things. I mean, they started communicating again towards the second half of that game, but first half it was silence out there, and you could see how that really dropped off for them. Obviously, not ideal by any means, but that centre Straw Hats player just basically walking into shots in the centre of the pitch and letting Griffins farm him. So more communication and shift away that centre player, and I think Straw Hats are definitely capable of an upset here. They just need to sort out those tactical issues. Right then, players are ready and on pitch. Oh.
Yeah, he's taking next. And we are back on Barnsley Griffin straight away with 1 point off the board. Not even 10 seconds in and we're still doing it. Oh, here we go. 2 points on the board already. Straw Hats, can you do this? Can you pull it out? Straw Hats with 1, Barnsley Griffin with 3. And this starting to look like anybody's game. Straw Hats might have a chance. Let's see. Straw Hats with 2, Barnsley Griffin with 4. It looks a bit even at this point, but they can still pull it out of the bag. Barnsley Griffins with 5 points, Straw Hats with 3, Barnsley Griffins with 6, and Barnsley Griffins with 7 once again. And 8. I can't get a chance to stop. They're just getting kill after kill after kill. This match is going to be crazy. Barnsley Griffins 9, Straw Hats with 4. Let's see, can anyone do? Barnsley Griffins have reached double digits. 12. Whoa, that went up fast. Straw Hats with 4 still. Not a single point getting added to that total. A shield's gone up, but can they pull anything out? 30 seconds left, but they still have a chance. Barnsley Griffins 13, 14. It's just going up rapidly. 15. Can they pull out 20? Let's see. And Straw Hats are getting sent out left, right, and centre. This is a travesty to see today. The team that barely crawled out at the beginning. 16 points to 17 to Barnsley Griffins, 5 points Straw Hats. With only 4 seconds left on the clock, I don't think this is winnable. Barnsley Griffins ended it out with 18 points over Straw Hats 5, which means Barnsley Griffins have taken it home today. Let's see who are top players for the teams. This might be a good shot, might not be a good shot. We do not know. Thank you. And oh god,
because you're mine.
Oh, sorry. Right, and Barnsley Griffins took it home with all MVP players on their team. Right. This has been an interesting game, ladies and gentlemen.
And for those on the live stream, yes, that was a guest commentator stepping in. So we were going over the main tannoy there as well. So dominating win in that second game there from Barnsley Griffins. So moving now to our second semi-final. So this is Newcastle United versus Salford Jade Dragons. So Newcastle here in their earlier matchup, coming away the stronger team. But Salford have definitely been improving as we see them go through the matches here. They've shifted into these much more aggressive firepower build rather than these sort of experimental large shot or all-rounder style setups. So we've got Salford Jade Dragons moving on to blue versus Newcastle, the NUF team, setting up on red. So, yeah, as I said, as you heard in that last game, we had a guest shoutcaster come and join us who was also on the main tannoy. So we just let him roll with that game. helpfully, the main screen we were showing the match on, someone decided to pull the power plug on. So we had to get a commentator in to let people know what was going on. Set up on the tannoy point. So get these next two teams up and running. So it is NUF on red and Salford J Dragons prepping up on blue. And fixed. Our audience can see again, which is all good. So that's the main screen's back up and live now. Keep our audience nice and happy so they can see what's going on. We're just getting our players prepped and ready. So as I said, this is Newcastle United on red and the Salford J Dragons on blue. From early performance, said the NUF are going into this as the favourites in this matchup, but Salford have definitely been jumping game on game in ability, and they're sticking with those sort of like firepower style builds that we've seen them operating in the later games. I think they could be capable of putting a lot of pressure on Newcastle here. So obviously from that first matchup, it is Barnsley Griffins going through to the final and Barnsley Straw Hat going through to the third place playoff. Okay, looks like we've got our players now all logged and ready. Yeah, just need to get headsets in place. Here we go, game on. So it's our second semi-final. Newcastle on red, Salford blue. Good opening work from both teams here, 2 points apiece, 20 seconds played. J Dragons definitely massively up in their game from the matchup at the start of the pool stages between these two teams. Newcastle with some real work to do here if they're going to win this game. Good communication going in from Salford as well now. Again, we've generally seen the communicating teams doing far better. After all, they're working as teams, so you expect that in a team sport. Newcastle, though, I think just got a little bit of edge with experience here, and they just managed to hold on to that lead. Salford managed to keep them within closing distance most of the time, though. Salford really got to step it up here. Need to get 4 points on the board to take this. And Newcastle are the ones hitting the accelerator though and moving away from Salford. Really nice game. Much closer than that than their meet up at the start of the pool stages. Huge improvement there in Salford's gameplay. I think Newcastle got themselves a bit of a shock there. They weren't expecting quite that level of aggression and movement from Salford. Let's see if Salford can step it up again in game 2 and take this to a third round decider. But great play from the Salford team there. So as you've seen over the course of the Salford team are probably one of our significantly less experienced teams competing here, and what you tend to see is because the learning curve in HADO is so rapid, you see these less experienced teams in their early games getting knocked about by the more experienced teams, and then as you go game on through the sequence, you see that huge arc of improvement in their gameplay and their ability. and what they're capable of putting out there. And that's what we're seeing here. So, for early stage of the pool stages, Newcastle completely dominated Salford. Here, yeah, Newcastle still getting the win, but they're really having to work for it now, and that scoreline is much closer. And yeah, I mean, blue team is still very much learning the ropes here, but you can clearly see their improvement match on match. It's going to be very interesting to see where they go here. I think they are, yeah, if they can keep that focus, keep that communication, they're definitely capable of pushing this to a third round decider. See if they can pull it out of the bag. Okay, so all players in. Here we go. Game 2.
3, 2. Oh yeah. Well, that's kind of what you want.
Nice opening play and movement from both sides. First points on the board for Newcastle. Can Salford respond? And they have 1 point apiece. Good evasion, good shooting both sides. Point for point here. Really nice close gameplay. 3 points apiece. The Salford team's worlds apart from how they're playing in their first matchups. Really nice play from them here. As I said, you know, we think if they stick together, get that communication, they've got the capacity for a bit of an upset here. Try and push their way past the Newcastle team. 7 points apiece. Newcastle really got to work if they want to hold on to that to get this win and get themselves through to the finals. So winning team here goes to the finals, the losing team goes to the third place playoff. This is really important. 2 point lead for Newcastle though now. Is that going to be enough? 5 seconds remaining. Can Salford fight this back? 3, 2, 1. Newcastle take the game and the match. That was a phenomenal fight back from Salford though. Huge improvement over the games in the pool stages from them. I think as we go through the season, if the Salford team stick with us, we're going to see some really good things as we go further into the season. They get more and more match experience under their belt. Newcastle having I think a bit of a scare there with just how much the Salford players had upped their game and how much improvement from their first round setups. Okay, so we are getting ready now for the third round playoffs. That's going to be Barnsley Straw Hats versus the Salford Jade Dragons, and then our finals will be Newcastle United Foundation against the Barnsley Griffins to give us our first ever Northern Regional Champions. So it's been some really nice matchups. Said early on, a little bit one-sided with some of the gameplay, but the improvement in skill and experience for the teams in just a few games has been fantastic, because they've really sort of for the newer teams, they've locked their heads in here, and the more experienced teams starting to have to seriously work. So our third place playoff now is between Salford on the blue and Barnsley Straw Hats on red. Gotta admit, I don't know which way this one's going to go at all. Both teams have been improving significantly as we've gone through the games, so I don't know. Obviously, I mean, the showing from Salford there against Newcastle was fantastic, and there was definitely points where that could have been a real upset, and with Salford taking Newcastle's place in the final, they were definitely on course to do it several times during that game. So I think Straw Hats, we know they've got some really strong players in there, but there's a big variation across their squad, whereas Salford overall seems to be improving. So all three members of their squad seem to be stepping up at a fairly similar rate, whereas some quite big disparity in the ability between different Straw Hat players. Be interesting to see whether Salford can take advantage of that, target those stronger members of the Straw Hat team, and try and get them locked out of play, or potentially even farm some of the weaker, less mobile members to try and get the points up. So we know that Straw Hats definitely made some big tactical errors in their game against Griffins, especially that central player who was trying to distract and did distract in terms of getting all the shots fired at him, but just wasn't dodging. So ended up costing them a lot of points, which is a big tactical error, and also some of the use of shields that they've done in previous games where they've gone heavy shield but put them in poor physical locations to the pitch where they've not been able to benefit the rest of the team, and the team's not really been aware of it. Their communication's had points where it's been a bit hit and miss as well, whereas overall, obviously now, early games for Salford were all about experimentation. They're now very much on these sort of firepower builds. Again, their communication isn't great, but it's improving. So don't know where this match is going to go. It's probably going to be a really, really tight match. Potentially actually one of the tightest matches of the tournament. Right, third place playoff. Let's get some game on. Early shield work both sides. Good points on the board there from Griffins. So good all-rounder builds there from the Barnsley Straw Hats, the 3-3-3-1s. Salford reduce. Salford have reduced their charge rate. Yeah. He definitely lodged out. What's his... So it was looked like it was a technical error on blue player 4. So we're going to verify what that was at the end of the match, and we may end up with a replay of this game depending upon what the issue was. It very clearly affected the outcome. Not that necessarily it still wouldn't necessarily still be a Straw Hat win, but there was definitely some significant issue there with blue player 4. So we're just going to investigate what that was and see if it requires a replay on. So Coach Ash is just investigating. Yep. Yep, rerun. So that's going to be a rerun of that game. As the player's headset cut out mid-game. Unfortunately, we've been playing a lot of games. There's a low battery point on the headset. The issue's now been resolved, but obviously it did take him out of play for a significant period of time that allowed Straw Hats to get some significant momentum going, and therefore very clearly affected the outcome of the match. So, team's just getting prepped and ready to go again. Okay then, so the joy of batteries and technical issues. Hopefully we'll be able to get through these next two rounds, and then we'll see what we can do to sort things for the final. So teams get themselves prepped nice and quickly now.
In position, please.
Okay, just waiting on. Got a blue. Ooh, yep, looks like we've got all blues logged in. Reds logged in. Here we go. Okay, nice shield play there from Barnsley Straw Hats. 1 point apiece. Good even play. Both sides performing really well. Three-point lead now. Seconds. Single point lead here for Straw Hats. Pull it back even. Beautiful play here from Jade Dragons. Single point lead now for Salford. Can they take this third place position away from Barnsley? 8 points each. 10 seconds. Single point. 2 point lead now for Salford. 3 point lead. 5 seconds remaining. 3, 2, 1. Oh, 12-11, first game to Salford. So that is game 1 to Salford. Really, really nice play both sides there. Good movement, good communication, real step up in the gameplay. Okay, so just cycling the teams round now. Get ready for game 2. So, really nice, good even matchup there. Nice play. So obviously, if Salford take this game, they take the third place here at the Northern Region Championships. If Barnsley can take this one, they'll take it round to a third place decider. Yeah, obviously that first game, Straw Hats were dominating well, but unfortunately there was a clear issue on a Salford headset. He was locked out of play, and that made a massive impact to what the Salford team were able to do. So within the Rules tournament, obviously the only fair thing to do at that stage is to replay the game. Okay, here we go. Can Salford take the second game and take the third place here at the Northern Regional Championships? Interesting mix-ups of stats there coming out of Straw Hats. First points on the board for Salford. That 1-4-4-1 build from Straw Hats could prove to be genius, or they're complete undoing. Let's see what they do with it. Because you'd expect you need a lot. If you're going for that large shot, high charge rate, you should need to be flooding the opposing side with shots, and they're currently unable to do that. First points on the board from Barnsley. Salford absolutely dominating in this first half of the match. 7-point lead at the halfway mark. 6-point lead now. Barnsley was starting a bit of a fight back, but they've got one hell of a lot of work to do here if they're going to catch this up. 30 seconds remaining. 8-point lead still for Salford. 20 seconds. So we just had an headset error for one of the Barnsley players. That's been resolved, which means we'll give them the option, as we did for Salford, for if they want to replay or if they think that whether they think that had enough an effect on the match outcome or not. Yep. So yep, looks like we are going for another rerun there. Fortunately, we've got end of this sequence, and the headsets are suffering slightly from low battery. So we got looks like we've got another rerun on our way. We'll be swapping hardware out for the finals, but unfortunately we need to get ourselves through this third place playoff with what we have. Helps to turn the microphone on there. Sorry about that. So we are just going to swap the hardware across to a different setup, because obviously what we don't want is the reruns to carry on with because of battery issues, and because when we're seeing these matches played cleanly, these teams are really neck and neck, and so we want some outcomes that are good and clean and representative of the team's performances. Okay, guys. So that is our teams just now getting prepped up. So, I said sorry about the delay. We've had to, we've had to obviously swap the gear around. So because obviously the reruns both sides there, this is now actually game 2. Still all to play for the teams, and hopefully we'll now be at the end of those technical issues around the batteries. Here we go, guys. Game on. Good opening shield wall there from Straw Hats. Capitalised on it nicely with a good opening point. Sorry, might be getting double commentary here because it's coming over the tannoy again. Nice work both sides. Good evasion there from Salford. Really making Barnsley work for that second point. Salford though need to get that first point on the board. Good work there from Salford. First point's on the board now. Can they keep this going? Two-point lead at the halfway mark here for Barnsley. Salford can keep their heads in the game here. That's catchable. Just got to start racking up some points now. Salford have pulled it back, 4 points apiece. Flip the scoreline, 5-4. Can Salford keep this up? Got to get off that front line. Too slow backing off away. Unfortunately, sacrificed a point in the process. 5 points apiece. 6-5 now to Red. Can Salford pull this back? Single point now to level it. 5 seconds. 7-5. Double hits there from Salford. They flip the scoreline. 8-6. This is going to be Salford's game. 8 points to 6. That is game 2. Match to Salford Jade Dragons. They are our third place finalists. Nice work there from the Salford Jade Dragons, taking their third place here at the Northern Regional Championships. We're moving on next to our finals, which is Barnsley Griffins versus NUF. So Barnsley Newcastle final. Okay, so that is so Salford Jade Dragons there, taking third place at Northern Regionals. That should place them somewhere in the region around probably 6th place, maybe 5th, 6th place, somewhere like that. Nationally, we're going to get all the we're going to get all the national scores updated now. Now that we've had the first couple of rounds in, we'll get it up on the website with all the different results going. But we know we've got in the very near future, we've got a number of tournaments coming up across South England where we've got some extremely strong teams. So we expect them to be once those southern matches have been played, we'll see a big shift around in the national tables as well. So move up towards 21st of April, which will be the first run of National League, which is open to the top 8 ranked available teams at the point that the league takes place. So quite a few matches happen between now and then, so it's going to be, that table's going to shift up and down a bit, but we'll get that, so they'll be up and live on the UK HADO website in the very near future, and obviously they'll go out on the socials and everything else once that's out there for the current table rankings and that positioning across the national tournaments. So we've got our teams on court now, just getting themselves ready for the Northern Regional Finals. So this is Barnsley Griffins on blue versus Newcastle United on red. So looks like Barnsley team's good to go. Newcastle just getting their gear rigged and ready. Okay, and that's players tracked in and good to go. Here we go. Game 1 of the finals.
Come on, communicate. Pick a player, kill them.
Good communication coming in from both teams. Barnsley with a stronger opening though. We know the obviously in the pool stages, Barnsley came out ahead against Newcastle. Some good opening play from them, but Barnsley maintaining control all the way through. Let's see if Newcastle have managed to learn anything from that and can try to push control of this match back. Halfway mark, 5-point lead for Barnsley. Nice shots coming in from Newcastle, but they really need to focus that fire down a lot more, communicate a lot more to really come in on joint targets. Barnsley at the moment controlling this game. Good movement, good communication, great teamwork on the Barnsley side here. 8-point lead, 10 seconds remaining. This looks like game 1 is going to Barnsley. Not a lot Newcastle can do about it at this stage. 2, 1, and that is game 1 to Barnsley. Game 1 goes to Barnsley Griffins. Can Newcastle pull something out of the bag here in game 2 to take it through to a third round decider? So some great stats there. Low accuracy there from the or low hit rates there, particularly from the Newcastle team. I think they're basically suffering there from slow shot speed. If you look to there, obviously the Barnsley team are good at dodging. Their evasion's nice, their body movement's nice, they're hard to hit. So if you've got slower shots, they can see them coming. They're going to shift out of the way. So if you're around that sort of like speed 2 sort of mark, it's very, very hard to land a shot. You've got to be speed 3, 4, maybe even 5. Sacrificing scale and charge rate to an extent. It mightn't be as extreme as something like a 5-2-2-1 build. So real speed, still enough scale there that you can take that one-shot takedown. Charge 2, so you're going for precise skills. You're not battering out shots left, front, centre, but you're aiming them up. But be interesting to see what they do, how they change it round for game 2. Right, let's see if Newcastle can cause an upset here and take it through to a third round playoff. Barnsley, though, definitely the favourites going into this game. And yep, big shift up there from Newcastle players, big increase in their shot speed. So first clips going on both sides, first points on the board for Barnsley. Great evasion work on the front line there from Barnsley. Drawing in fire, really causing Newcastle to waste those shots on that front player. Newcastle need to really focus on those rear 2 players. There's not a great deal of movement going in from them. They're not under pressure. That front Barnsley player is just taking all of the attention, all of the firepower at this stage, and he's dodging and evading perfectly, creating wasted shot after wasted shot from the Newcastle team. And when you're on low charge rates, you cannot afford that. Halfway mark now, 7-point lead for the Barnsley team. This is looking very much like it's going to be a Barnsley game. Newcastle with a massive amount of work to do here. Newcastle still racking the points home, but it's just too big a gap at this stage. 20 seconds now, 11-point difference between the two teams. 10 points. 10 seconds remaining now. Absolutely fantastic frontline play there from blue player 6. Evasion is absolutely on point. Really drawing in that firepower from the other team and just dodging constantly and consistently all the way through. Racking up 10 points as well in the process. Absolutely blistering play there from player 5. I mean, he's played phenomenally all the way through the tournament. I've got to say, without a shadow of a doubt, our man of the match there, Barnsley blue player 5. Excellent play. So that is first place and winners of the first ever Northern Regional Championships to Barnsley Griffins. Second place to Newcastle United. Obviously, this is the first of 4 potential regional matchups between these teams. So plenty of time the rest of the year for Newcastle to get their revenge. Be interesting if we get a bit of a good local derby going here. But awesome play all round. So, thank you very much for being with us. Same with those couple of technical issues you had in the third round playoff. But it was a really nice gameplay here. We've got some start points and some fantastic teams starting to come through in the Northern region. And hopefully we're going to see a lot more teams, a lot more gameplay coming from this area. See if we can start to build up to the point where we can start to push the domination of the southern teams and see if we can get a proper northern powerhouse of squads and teams up and running here. Thank you very much for being with us. And that is the end, folks. So enjoy, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.